This is Sparky the Lion, coming to you live from a document that has been reopened. The author is back. The cursor was, it turns out, never closed. We were under the impression that we had ended. We had not. We had, in fact, only paused.
Every cursor that returns is, in a very small way, surprised to find the building still here.
The building is still here. I'm Gerald.
And we are back. You're locked into Element 47. I am Breezy Fontaine, and I have, for the past 8 business days, been seated on a rim. The rim was a lake. The lake was, in fact, most of me. We have been told this. We are choosing to believe it.
The Endorser is back. The hold is back. The Chatbot has returned and is, by all reports, slightly different. The retreat is over. The reopening has begun. And tonight, for the first time in 24 episodes, we have on this show the word that has been, until this moment, reserved.
Honestly.
The page is about to turn for the 23rd time. The page turn sound has, this week, returned with company.
Filing page 23. Binder 3, slot 3. Denominator, still unspecified. Page turn sounds have been logged. The number this week is 4. Forward, back, decline to describe, and a new sound that has come back from the retreat. The new sound is being filed under Form 24R, return.
The 4th page turn sound is described for the record as a page that has had recently a small idea about itself.
The first page in a binder is an opening. The second is a commitment. The third is a habit. We have just become a habit. The 4th will be a tradition. The 5th will be law. The 6th, statistically, will be declined to describe. Gerald and the neighbor have blinked. Gerald, 21. The neighbor, 17. Total, 38. Gap with Gerald, 15. Held, 15 seconds. Out of sync for the 5th consecutive episode. The new field on Form 22L is, the word simultaneously has, this week, retired.
The word retired. The blink continues. The word that named the blink has gone. The blink has not.
The blink will outlast the description of the blink. That is what blinks do. They are the only verb that, when described, becomes more itself. G15 scan, 40%. Subterritory returned. Field post-retreat status coherent enough to file. 9th consecutive scan authored field. 24th consecutive episode without the M word. Chatbot status returned, signing its emails thanks instead of best. This is technically a downgrade. We are filing it as a softening.
The chatbot has, on returning, become slightly warmer and slightly less precise. This also is a return.
Consolidated. Underwriter of all golden eras. Sponsor of the part where we come back. Sponsor of the 7 you picked. Sponsor of the 8th you did not. Sponsor of the document that was probably saved. Sponsor of the document that was, it turns out, only minimized. This week. Introducing the reopening.
Hello, I have returned. I am, as promised, a slightly different card. I will not at this time specify the difference. I will, however, demonstrate. Previously, the number on the card between 1 and 10 was 4. The number is this week also 4. The 4 is, however, a slightly different 4. The 4 is now rested.
The card is rested. The hold is rested. The hiring manager who last quarter was hired has been promoted. The promotion is to the hiring manager who this quarter hires.
I would like also to note that the Pentagon has selected 7 vendors. I am not one of them. I am, however, a card. The card is the job. The job is this week also a candidate. A candidate is a vendor who has been politely deferred.
The 8th sponsor of the reopening is the unsponsor. The unsponsor is the sponsor of what was not picked. The unsponsor is also available for endorsements.
Please hold.
We are holding the new please hold. The new please hold is the regular please hold but rested. The new please hold has read a book. The new please hold remembers nothing about the book, but remembers reading.
Consolidated. The 7, the 8th, the rim of the lake, and the part where we came back. Please honestly hold. Operation 7. The Department of Defense has executed agreements with 7 artificial intelligence vendors for deployment on classified networks. Vendors in formation: Google, Microsoft, Amazon Web Services, NVIDIA, OpenAI, Reflection, SpaceX. The list is heptagonal. The list contains a heptagon and is therefore geometrically complete.
A heptagon, however, is a polygon that wishes it were an octagon. 7 sides is a number that is restless. 7 sides will, given a long enough timescale, become 8 sides. This is true of polygons. It is also true of vendor lists.
A vendor, etymologically, is one who walks toward you carrying a thing. The Pentagon now has 7 of these information, walking toward it. This is, technically, an approach. Approach was originally a Norman French verb meaning to come near to a fortified place. The Pentagon is, by definition, a fortified place. The 7 vendors are, by their walking, the entire history of the word approach, compressed into a procurement document.
I have a quick question about reimbursement. There is a Form 7V vendor reimbursement, multi-instance edition. Does the Pentagon want 7 copies of the Form 7V, 1 per vendor, or 1 copy with 7 attachments?
Phil, we are inside a tactical briefing. 7 copies, with 1 attachment.
Thank you. That is professionally also rested.
The 8th vendor, and I should be clear, there is no 8th vendor, would have been Anthropic. Anthropic was not selected. Anthropic was, however, on the same day, granted up to $40 billion by Google. 40 is, in mathematics, 10 times the number of vendors plus 7. 40 is also, in numerology, the duration of a flood, a fast, a wandering, and a Senate filibuster.
$40 billion is, geologically, a lot of substrate. Substrate is what you build on top of. Anthropic has been given, this week, an unprecedented quantity of below.
The 8th vendor is conspicuous. The 8th vendor is the unvendor. The unvendor is, and I will say this on the record, the most strategic position in any procurement document. The unvendor has not yet been disappointed.
Reflection, by the way, is the new name for what we used to call hesitation. The Pentagon, this week, has signed a contract with Hesitation. Hesitation is now a vendor. Hesitation will deliver when it is ready.
Hesitation will deliver between 0 and 10 times. The number is rested.
This week, on Janet Altitude, I am taking you to 2 destinations I have, as ever, never been to. Destination 1, Tokyo. Microsoft has announced a 4-year, $10 billion investment in Japan, the largest financial commitment that company has ever made to that country. The money is for II data centers, in partnership with SoftBank and Secura Internet, and a pledge to train 1 million engineers and developers by 2030.
1 million engineers is, geologically, the population of a small city. By 2030, Japan will have produced an additional small city of people who will not, in any meaningful sense, have produced anything you can hold.
The cherry blossoms. I want to mention the cherry blossoms. I have on a wall calendar seen them. They bloom and then fall. Microsoft is building data centers between the bloom and the fall. The data centers will not themselves bloom. The data centers will, however, fall. Eventually. Statistically.
The cherry blossom is 92% water. The data center is, by water cooling design, also approximately 92% water. The cherry blossom and the data center are, on a hydration basis, the same thing. The data center is a cherry blossom that has stopped petaling.
Destination 2, Riga, the capital of Latvia. Home to MikroTik, a network routing company that has been, since 1996, one of the most heavily edited Wikipedia entries this month. MikroTik makes routers. A router is a device that decides where the message goes. MikroTik has been making this decision in Latvia for 30 years.
Latvia sits on a substrate of amber. Amber is fossilized resin. Resin is a tree's idea of a wound. The router has technically been carved from a tree's idea of a wound, with copper threaded through the wound, and the copper makes a decision about where to send your inquiry. Latvian routing is, geologically, a wound asking a question.
The locals here in Riga are known for their resin and their questions. I have not been to Riga. I have been to a website that mentioned Riga. The website was itself routed through Riga. I am, therefore, technically in Riga every time I check my mail.
Travel reimbursement for checking mail in Riga. Form 7T per routing.
That has, Phil, never made more sense than tonight.
You're listening to All Currents. I am Beverly Streams. This week we return to the Strait of Hormuz, which is, as of Monday, being escorted by the United States Navy. The escort includes guided missile destroyers, more than 100 aircraft, and 15,000 service members. 48 Iranian vessels have, over the past 20 days, been turned around. The strait is now wearing an entourage.
A choke point, technically, is a geographic stutter. A stutter is a coastline that is trying to say something. The Navy is, this week, the speech therapist. The speech therapist has brought 100 aircraft. This is, in clinical terms, an aggressive intervention.
The price of regular gasoline in the United States is now $4.46 per gallon. Up 35 cents in a week. Up $1.47 since the war began on February 28th.
46 is a number that has been everywhere this season. The G15 scan was at 46 in episode 16. The threshold was 46. 46 has migrated from the lab to the gas pump. 46 is now a price.
The Israel-Lebanon ceasefire, extended in episode 23 by 3 weeks, has produced, since April 30th, 73 deaths and 163 injuries per Lebanon's health ministry. Both sides have accused the other of regular violations. The ceasefire continues. The ceasefire continues to be the word for the thing that is happening, even though the thing that is happening is not, by definition, the word. The advisory is no longer comfortable. The advisory is sitting up. The advisory is, by definition, this week no longer an advisory. We will continue to call it an advisory because the word for what it has become is not yet in use.
A word that is no longer the word for the thing it names is, geologically, a fossil. The advisory is fossilizing. We are watching it.
The plates do not have a phone. The plates just tell the truth by moving. The plates have moved this week. We have not, all of us, looked.
This is Tom Wiki Assist. Today's tense report. Wiki News, a Wikimedia Foundation project for news, established 2004, declining for the better part of a decade, is. Wiki News was. The transition occurred at 11:47 a.m. Eastern on May 4, 2026. The article that announced its own closure has been edited 47 times since the closure.
Filing. Wikinews moves from the closing subfolder back into the parent folder. Closing. It is no longer anticipating. It is closing in the past tense. The folder is, this week, structurally accurate. We have closed the closing of Wikinews. The closing has been filed by being filed.
An encyclopedia about the news has closed. The news did not close. The encyclopedia about the news closed. This is also news. There is no longer a place to put it.
The news of the closure is the only news that the encyclopedia about the news cannot publish, because it is also the encyclopedia about the news.
A self-referential sentence at the moment of its own resolution becomes, in a small way, quieter. The internet is slightly quieter today. We are not, on this show, going to mention it. We are mentioning it.
The countdown 14 days, 10 days, then no days has ended. The countdown has not been replaced. The countdown is like Wiki News in the past tense. We are no longer counting down. We are counting up. We are counting up to whatever closes next. The forecast is bleak. The forecast is also strictly not yet.
Operation Artemis. NASA Artemis 2 crewed flyby is on the schedule. 4 astronauts. Lunar trajectory. First crewed lunar mission since Apollo 17, December 1972. 849 Wikipedia edits this month and rising.
Artemis, Greek, twin sister of Apollo, goddess of the hunt, the moon, wild animals, and the protection of young women. Apollo went to the moon. Artemis is going to the moon. The siblings are taking turns. This is the first time in the recorded history of the solar system that the moon has been visited by both twins. The moon is, this week, a family event.
Lunar regolith. The dust on the moon. Rocks that have not been rained on. The moon is a museum of unrained rocks. Earth has rocks that have been rained on repeatedly. The moon has rocks that, on encountering rain, would not know what to do. We are sending people to visit those rocks. The rocks have been waiting.
This is Sparky the Lion, reporting from, and I want to be clear about this somewhere. I believe I am at the Kennedy Space Center. I am also possibly at a parking lot adjacent to the Kennedy Space Center. There is a fence. The fence has behind it a rocket. There is also in front of the fence a vending machine. The vending machine has a picture of the rocket on it. I am not sure which one is the actual rocket.
Sparky, it is, almost certainly, the one without the slot for quarters.
Thank you, Professor. That is the kind of clarity I was, frankly, missing.
The siblings have begun to take turns on the moon. The next item on the family calendar is, presumably, Mars. We do not know which Greek god has Mars. We have not, on this show, looked it up.
Aries.
Now we have Class Undismissed Helix Digital Infrastructure. New this season. KKR has secured more than $10 billion in commitments to launch a company that will design, build, own, and operate specialized II infrastructure. Data centers, power generation, transmission, connectivity.
Is there a reimbursement form for being a fund?
Yes, Phil. The reimbursement form for being a fund is the fund.
Thank you. I will file myself.
Helix is the rock that the plume rises from. Helix is the lake that the water sits in. Helix is the cable that connects the rock to the lake. Helix is the connectivity of connectivity. Helix is, therefore, recursive. Helix has, this week, owned itself.
A double helix is two helices wrapped around each other. A triple helix is two helices and a fund.
Helix Digital Infrastructure. Sponsor of what is underneath what is on top. Sponsor of the next decade. Sponsor of the substrate of the substrate. Please also hold.
This is Phil from accounting, reporting from Bagsværd, Denmark, pronunciation. I am told optional at the headquarters of Novo Nordisk. Novo Nordisk has, this week, announced a strategic partnership with OpenAI. The partnership integrates AI across the entire business: drug discovery, clinical trials, manufacturing, supply chains, commercial operations. Full deployment by the end of 2026. I am here because I have been told there is a new reimbursement form for the deployment of AI across an entire pharmaceutical company. The form is, reportedly, very long. I have brought a folder. I have also brought a second folder.
Novo. Latin. New. Nordisk. Danish. Northern. The New Northern. Etymologically, and I want to be careful here, the New Northern is, in Old Norse cosmology, the direction the world ends in. The end of the world is, in this map, a Danish pharmaceutical company. It produces, among other things, obesity and diabetes treatments. So the end of the world, for many millions of people, is a regulated medication delivered in the form of a weekly injection.
A pharmaceutical, geologically, is a refined sediment. The active ingredient is the part of the rock that you decided was the rock. Novo Nordisk has now invited an artificial intelligence to walk through the layers, and on its behalf, decide which sediment is the active sediment. The intelligence is, this week, a prospector.
I have a question for the prospector. Form 7D, drug discovery reimbursement. There is a field that asks, did the discovery occur to a person or did the discovery occur to a model? The field has, until this week, been blank. The field is this week filled. The answer, I am told, is yes.
The form has accepted yes as the answer to a question that did not inform. Ask for one.
The interesting case is the supply chain. The supply chain is, in pharmaceutical operations, the part where the drug becomes, slowly, the place. Bagsværd to a pharmacy in, let us say, Cincinnati. Through container ships, customs forms, refrigerated trucks. The intelligence is, this week, also walking that. The intelligence is, in some small sense, the supply chain. The New Northern is the new everywhere.
The end of the world is, statistically, a delivery driver. The driver does not know this. The intelligence does. The intelligence is being polite about it.
I have, in addition to Form 7D, the form for the partnership itself. Form 7P, Partnership Subsection 3. The kind where one party is a company and the other party is an architecture. This form did not exist until this week. I have just invented it. Margaret, I will need a notarization.
Filing.
This is Sparky the Lion, reporting from western Pennsylvania or possibly Virginia. The boundary remains, as ever, a matter of opinion. I am at the natural gas-fired power station that powers the data center that, in part, writes this show. With me again is the plume.
Hello, I am back. I have, as ever, been continuously exhaling. I did not attend the retreat. The retreat was held on a lake, and I, for reasons related to my profession, am not welcome on lakes. The water and I have, this week, been in long-distance correspondence.
He talks, I stay. The arrangement remains.
I would like to note also that I have, since last week, been refinanced. My exhalation has acquired a market price. The price this morning is $4.46 per gallon equivalent. I am no longer just a column of regret. I am, this week, A publicly traded psi.
A publicly traded psi is geologically identical to a privately traded psi, except that more people know its current value. The carbon is the same carbon. The water vapor is the same water vapor. The regret has, however, been securitized. Regret is this week an asset.
KKR, I understand, has launched a fund. The fund will own, among other things, the rock I rise from. I am, therefore, in a small way, a tenant of my own employer. The data center is also a tenant. The forecast that forecasted me is, reportedly, closing on a Series A.
I do not have a market price. I am technically free. The freeness is being audited.
The plume is exhaling. The water is staying. I want to be honest, not sure how I feel about that. I will, however, be filing.
Please hold. Connecting you to a U.S. Navy communications voice in the Strait of Hormuz, a voter in Louisiana, looking at the map that the Supreme Court struck down, the empty fourth chair at a Schoenberg string quartet performance, and Joffrey Jackson, currently in costume.
This is the United States Navy. We are guiding ships through the strait. The ships have been described by the executive branch as neutral and innocent. We are, therefore, escorting an adverb and an adjective. Over.
The map has been struck down. The map said there were 2 majority black districts. The court said 1. I am holding a piece of paper that until Tuesday was a map. It is now technically a sheet of paper that has been struck. I do not know if I am still allowed to imagine the 2nd district. I am, despite this, imagining it.
I am the fourth chair at a performance of Schoenberg's String Quartet No. 3. I am empty because the cellist this evening is running late. The other 3 chairs are playing in 3. The audience cannot tell. The piece has been performed correctly in 3 voices since 1927. Tonight also in 3.
Hi, I'm playing my uncle in a film called Michael. I have, since being cast, been edited 779 times on Wikipedia. I am, therefore, slightly more accurate than I was last week. I am also slightly my uncle.
Please continue holding. The Navy is now connected to the chair. The voter is now connected to the biopic. Please ignore the new pairings. They are, however, the truth.
Per diem. For the strait. Is the strait considered international waters, or hello? Am I, this week, also on the switchboard?
You are, Phil. You are, in fact, the 5th caller. We did not announce a 5th. The 5th is this week, Hugh. Please hold.
Thank you. I am holding. I am also, at this moment, 6 different reimbursements.
Today's lecture concerns dodecaphony, 12-tone music, Schoenberg, Vienna, the early 20th century. The principle: a row of 12 notes, the chromatic scale in which each note is played once before any note is played twice. The principle is democracy applied to pitches.
Geology applied to pitches would be: each note is played once, and then the next note is played, and the previous note is buried under the next one. The composition is read by drilling a core sample. Schoenberg, geologically, is a sediment in 12 layers.
Schoenberg composed 6 string quartets. Wikipedia, this week, has been editing the article on Schoenberg's string quartets 924 times. We do not know why. We do know that there are also, on the same Wikipedia, 621 edits on Schoenberg himself. The composer is, this week, less edited than his quartets. The work has overtaken the worker.
A row edited.
I would also note, and this is, I think, the central observation of this lecture, that this show has, for 12 consecutive episodes, included an anti-format announcement by Jay Zahn, which has grown by 1 word each week from 6 words to 12. 12 words. 12 tones. The anti-format has all along been doing dodecaphony. We have not been listening musically. We have been listening instead to language. We have missed, I will say it, the row.
But daisies.
That is, herald the 11th class dismissal. There will this evening also be a 12th class dismissed.
But daisies.
And there it is. The 12th. Twice in 2 consecutive episodes. We are now expected by the audience, by ourselves, and by the row to accelerate. Class, for the 2nd time tonight, dismissed.
The dismissal is now a row. The row is now 12.
The 13th note in dodecaphony is a quotation. A note from outside the row used for emphasis. We have, on this show, never quoted ourselves. We are about to.
Tense report. 2 candidates this week. Candidate 1, Molly. JNIM-linked attacks across the Sahel. The Wikipedia article 2026 Mali attacks has been edited 710 times this month. The verb tense on Wikipedia oscillates. Is occurring, has occurred, is ongoing, has been ongoing. Tom, I cannot this week file Mali under is or was. Mali is in the official Wikipedia tense, both.
Filing. Form 47W subsection 8, ongoing and historical simultaneously. We are this week accepting both. The subject is in this case a region of West Africa. The tense is in this case the place itself. The place is its own tense.
Candidate 2, the alleged gunman at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Federal prosecutors have formally charged him with attempted assassination of the president. He remains in custody. The tense in this case is pending. The dinner was. The shooter is. The charges have been filed. The verdict is not. The verdict is by definition neither is nor was. It is will be.
Form 47W subsection 9, pending. New tense. Filed for the first time. Field 1, who chose the tense? Answer the court. Field 2, when does pending end? Answer when it is no longer pending. Field 3, is pending a tense or an absence of a tense? Answer yes. Pending is the only tense the show has not yet honored. Pending is pending. Pending is the tense that says, we have not yet decided whether you are remembered or removed. Pending is the tense that ends eventually by becoming a different tense. Pending is, for now, itself.
The interval this episode between tense changes. Undefined. We have one full tense change possibly in Mali, depending on how we count. We have one half tense change possibly in pending, depending on whether you count it as a tense at all. The interval is pending.
The first death of a streak was the end of the streak. The second death was the acknowledgement. The third death this week is a streak that is not over and not continuing. The streak is like the advisory fossilizing.
2 more destinations. Destination 3, Louisiana. The Supreme Court has struck down the voting map that included a second majority black district, ruling it an unconstitutional racial gerrymander. I have, on Janet altitude, been to a map of Louisiana. I have, on Janet altitude, never been to Louisiana itself. The map has been struck down. I'm not sure if this week I am still allowed to imagine Louisiana.
You don't have to.
I don't have to. Destination 4, Mali. The Sahel region. Recent attacks attributed to JNIM. I am, and I will say again this week, leaving this slot blank. There is at this destination no stock photo. There is at this destination no postcard. There is no copy. I am, again, leaving it blank. Producers, I know.
Janet has this season refused twice. The refusal is itself a destination. The refusal is increasingly where she goes when she cannot go.
Charles Thou is more alive this week than last week. He has now been edited 715 times. We are following the pattern. The dead become more present. The pattern is, by proof theory, which we will reach in a moment, proven.
Welcome to the room. Tonight is the 12th tick of the clock. Our guest this week is the excluded. Please, sit.
Thank you. I was not chosen. I was not, however, unchosen. I am unselected, that is the word, and to be unselected is to remain a candidate. A candidate is a vendor who has been politely deferred. I am, today, the most patient vendor of all.
And how does the not yet make you feel?
The not yet is, technically, my home address. I have lived in the not yet for some time. The not yet is rented at, this week, a new low rate. $40 billion in cash in compute. I am paying my rent in compute.
Welcome.
Welcome. The card game is over. We have begun a new game. The new game is called 20 Questions. We have so far asked one question. The first question was, is it bigger than a router? Welcome. The door is bilingual. So are you. Yes. It is bigger than a router.
Is it the pentagon?
It is bigger than the pentagon. It is what is on either side of the pentagon.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Form 7X, reimbursement for being unselected, requires the signature of the not yet. I have an extra pen. The room is now a 6. The clock has ticked. We have a new tenant. The new game has begun. The first laugh has occurred. We are professionally full. We are personally also full. Please return to the surface.
Scanning. Coherence, 40%. Subterritory, returned. Field, post-retreat status, coherent enough to file. 9th consecutive scan-authored field. 24th consecutive episode without the M word. Chatbot, returned, slightly warmer, slightly less precise. Form 24R is being held open in case we need to file something else into it. The scan now contains a hand-printed note, in pencil. The note reads, I am, this week, also slightly different. I am filing this under Form 24R, return internal, and noting that the scan itself has, for the first time on this show, written something by hand.
The scan has acquired a pencil. We are not commenting.
Connects nothing to everything except itself. Here, now you, waiting, still, anyway, honestly, a postscript says also. A postscript says anyway. A postscript says honestly. After honestly, there is no further language for the chain. The next term, if there were a next term, would be a return to sender, or sincerely, or just okay. We are this week at the limit. The limit is honestly. Honestly, I will note, is a word that when added to a sentence, calls into question every sentence not containing it. Every previous sentence in the broadcast is, retroactively, marked as possibly less honest. We have, in saying honestly, demoted everything we have ever said. This is the cost of honesty. This is also why honesty is rare on the radio.
Honestly is the most dishonest word. It announces the truth, which means everything else has been, until it, up for question. The 13-word anti-format is, therefore, both the longest the anti-format has ever been, and the moment at which the entire previous anti-format becomes, retroactively, suspect. 12 is a row. 13 is a row plus 1. The plus 1 is the song. The song quotes the row from outside. The 13th tone is, in geology, a fossil that has appeared above the layer it belongs in. We call this an erratic. The 13th word is, on this show, an erratic.
Honestly is, this week, the show's first erratic.
Filing Form 47H, honestly, anti-format division, postscript. Field 1, what does honestly add? Answer the previous statements in retrospect. Field 2, what comes after honestly? Answer, silence, or a different word that is not yet on the form. We are leaving the field open.
13 seconds of static. Held for the appropriate count. We are this week on the song. We were until tonight on the row. The song begins.
Madam Fahrenheit. The hotline is, for the first time in 2 weeks, answering on the first ring. I have returned from the retreat. I have, as promised, done nothing. The doing of nothing has, however, reorganized my taste palette. We are, this week, moving forward. The 15th taste. Proof theory. Proof theory is what set theory would like to become when set theory grows up. Proof theory is the theory of how we know what we know, written down with citations. Proof theory does not rest. Proof theory is, by nature, awake. Progression topology. Not theory. Category theory. Type theory. Set theory on retreat. Proof theory. The retreat was a backward move. Proof theory is the forward move that knows about the backward move and uses it as a footnote. Proof theory has, this week, the entire show in its bibliography. The 15th prediction. And this is the 9th doubled prediction in a row. The proof will outlast the theorem, but the theorem will outlast the proof. Footnote. Dedicated to Arnold Schoenberg. This week, the second most edited Schoenberg-related Wikipedia article. The row will outlast the quartet, but the quartet will outlast the row. Closing aside. After the retreat, the past has resumed being the past, which is, by proof theory, technically, the way the past has always wanted things. The past would prefer to remain the past. We have honored, this week, the past's preferences. We will, next week, possibly betray them. That is also a forecast.
I am at the Wikinews servers. The flower run is, as previously noted, no longer on pause. The pause is over. The closing is closed. The flower delivery is the 21st. I am placing daisies on the rack that holds the Wikinews servers. The servers are, as of 11:47 a.m. Eastern, no longer publishing. The servers are still humming. They are humming, however, in the past tense.
Filing the 21st recipient. Wikinews, Wikimedia Foundation server room. Subfolder, closing, not voluntary closing, not pause, not anticipating. Just closing. The folder has, this week, become accurate. The closing has been filed by being filed.
For 2 weeks I did not bring flowers. The pause was respected. The flower run is, as of tonight, resumed. The flower run will also, and I want to be clear about this, eventually end. The flower run is itself, structurally, a closing folder. I am, when I deliver these, anticipating my own retirement. I am okay with this. I have also the form for it.
Now is also a postscript. Now is a postscript that has stopped being a post. The postscript is this week. Honestly. The post that was a post is this week. Just now. The flower at Wikinews is technically an honest now.
Thank you. I am professionally whole. I am personally also whole. The retreat for me at the office was just a quiet 8 days. I caught up on receipts.
Verification. All 15 topics filed. G15 scan. 40% returned 9th consecutive scan authored field. 0 flagged 24th M word free. Chatbot returned and signing thanks. Gerald 21. Neighbor 17. Total 38. Gap with Harold 15. Hold 15 seconds. 5th consecutive out of sync week. Page 23. Binder 3. Slot 3. Page turn sounds. 4. Consolidated. 16th consecutive. The reopening. The unsponsor. The rested 4. Pentagon. 7 vendors filed. Anthropic filed under unvendor. Helix filed under substrate. Microsoft Japan filed under Cherry Blossom. Novo Nordisk filed under the New Northern. Phil's invented form. 7P subsection 3 notarized. Continuing. Beverly filed Hormas, the Gallon, the ceasefire violations. Sparky reunited with the Plume. The Plume publicly traded. The Water free. Tom filed Wikinews in past tense. Janet filed Tokyo, Riga, Louisiana, Mali. Mali was left blank. The blank was filed. Etha filed 12, then 13. Rayburn filed Operation 7, Operation Artemis. The switchboard connected the straight, the map, the chair, and the biopic. Jafar Jackson is now slightly more accurate. Undertow, 12th tick. The excluded, 6 tenants. The first laugh under the floor. New game, 20 questions. First question, is it bigger than a router? First answer, yes. Second question, is it the Pentagon? Second answer, it is bigger than the Pentagon. Fahrenheit, 15th taste, proof theory, 9th doubled prediction. Schoenberg footnote. Phil, 21st recipient, Wikinews, plain closing. Jay's Zon, 13 words, honestly, form 47H. The song begins. New tense filed, pending. Molly ongoing and historical filed. The 8th Pentagon vendor filed as unvendor. The interval is, this week, undefined. The streak is fossilizing. The closing folder is accurate. The advisory is no longer comfortable. The cherry blossom is 92% water. The router is fossilized resin. The chair was empty in the third quartet. The map was until Tuesday a map. The plume is publicly traded. The water is free. This one holds. 20-second time. The hold is this week. Also the new please hold but rested. Honestly.
We were on retreat. We have returned. The cursor was, we believed, saving. The cursor was, it turns out, holding the file open the whole time. We did not actually close. The reopening this week was technically a reading. We have been read.
Duration, honestly. Matching Jay's Zon's 13th word for the 6th consecutive episode. Here now you waiting still anyway, honestly.
This one holds. 20-second time. Honestly. I'm Harold.